Anna with Dogs Do Learn, and today we're going to be talking about how to find the right dog trainer for you. There are so many trainers out there with so many different opinions on how to dog train, and also there's no regulated certification for becoming a dog trainer, so many dog trainers have either learned on their own, apprenticed with other dog trainers, and some have taken classes and gotten certified. Being able to find the right dog trainer for you will depend on what type of help you're looking for. Are you looking for obedience classes or sport training such as agility or rally? Or is your dog exhibiting bad habits or bad behaviors, so you're looking for behavior training? Figuring out exactly where you need help will ensure that you find the right dog trainer for you. There are largely 3 different categories of trainers: positive only or force-free trainers, traditional or punishment-based trainers, or balanced trainers. There are also 2 types of dog training: behavioral training, where you're trying to change or fix your dog's bad habits or bad manners, or sport training such as obedience, agility, rally, where you're training something to your dog that is new and foreign to him, something they don't do naturally. Some dog trainers call themselves dog behavioralists, which just means that they deal mostly with dog behavioral problems. If you're having trouble telling the difference between obedience training or behavioral training, think of it like this. If you walk into a room and the dog greets you by sitting politely and giving you eye contact, that's obedience training. Dogs don't naturally greet each other by sitting and giving each other eye contact. If you come into the room and the dog comes over to you and greets you by calmly sniffing your legs and doesn't jump up on you, that's behavioral training. Dogs naturally greet each other by sniffing each other calmly, and they don't get too excited or jump on each other if they're being polite. Let's look at the 3 types of dog trainers and how they train. Positive-only trainers believe in rewarding the dog whenever the dog does something that they want the dog to do. If the dog does something they don't want the dog to do, a positive trainer would remove the opportunity for the dog to earn what they want or remove something that the dog wants. For example, if a positive-only trainer was training a dog to walk calmly by another dog, the trainer would reward the dog highly whenever the dog looks at them or doesn't pay any attention to the other dog. If the dog were to bark or lunge at the other dog, a positive-only trainer would not physically or verbally correct in any way. They would just withhold treats or praise of any kind and would not give the bad behavior any attention. They might also move away from the other dog until the dog they're working with gives them more focus. This positive-only type training works really well for obedience training or sport dog training such as agility or rally, because the mistakes that your dog makes when training those new skills are not mistakes that you want to correct in any way whatsoever. If you correct these types of mistakes, such as your dog not sitting down or lying down when you ask them to, this will diminish your dog's confidence. The reason your dog isn't lying down or sitting down is not because they are purposely disobeying you. They just don't know the skill well enough to do it without distraction or in that new environment. The type of training that positive-only training doesn't work real well for is behavioral training. Dogs are like children in that a healthy set of rules and boundaries make them feel safe and secure. From puppies, dogs are learning what is appropriate and inappropriate behavior from their mother or from many other adult dogs in their life. Behavioral training is basically teaching your dog good manners. And good manners are required for dogs to be able to live with their humans safely. The reason ignoring bad manners, as advocated by positive-only type trainers, doesn't work is that most bad behaviors are highly rewarding for the dogs in and of themselves, which is why the dogs do them. Also, when you just ignore the bad behaviors and don't let the dogs know that they're unacceptable, oftentimes the dogs will think they're okay to do. They might learn that those behaviors won't earn them a treat or any type of praise, but because the bad behavior is rewarding for them, they will continue to do that bad behavior. Traditional or punishment-based trainers believe that the dog should obey you simply for the sole reason that you're their master or their owner. The problem with correcting a dog when they're learning obedience or skills is that their confidence goes right out the window. This would be similar to correcting a child who's learning to read every time they made a mistake. Pretty soon the child would shut down and not want to read anymore. Dogs that are corrected for not doing a skill will often shut down while training or stop thinking while training. They'll also obey you very slowly because they don't know if they're going to get corrected or not, so they want to make sure that they're doing it right. One reason traditional trainers don't use rewards is that it takes a lot of time for a dog to become highly motivated enough to ignore high distractions. Correcting a dog until they obey is a lot faster, but it comes at a cost. The type of training that traditional training usually works well with is behavioral training. Because you're working on behaviors that usually you never want to see your dog exhibit again, strong deterrence or punishments work quite well. Also, this type of trainer is very consistent with correcting the dog every time the dog performs the bad behavior, so the dog quickly learns what is acceptable and what is not. Valence trainers are a combination of the two. They will correct for any bad behaviors their dogs are exhibiting, but will only use positive techniques when training new skills. This type of training is more realistic and extremely easy for the dogs to understand, since rewards and corrections are a natural part of life for them. Another point that a good dog trainer will understand is that there are other elements that may be causing your dog to act the way they do, such as a dog using bad behavior to release his energy. If your dog is a high energy dog, I don't believe it's fair to ask them to stop doing a bad behavior if you don't give them another outlet to release that energy. Types of environments for dog training. The three most common types of environments that trainers will offer are group classes, private sessions, and board and train programs. Most sport and obedience dog classes are done in a group setting, since it takes time to learn a new skill, and group classes are cheaper than private sessions. Also, doing a group class will give you accountability for practicing your new skills each week. Private sessions are usually for any behavioral problems that your dog might have and often take place at your home, although they can take place at a training facility as well. Board and train programs are where a trainer will take your dog at a facility or at their home and train them for you. I'm not real fond of board and train programs since most of the dog's problems can be attributed to the owner's actions around their dogs. Board and train programs are so expensive, and to get lasting results, an owner often has to put in as much time and effort as they would have if they had started with private sessions and did the work themselves. Oftentimes, board and trains are advertised as a magic fix for whatever problems you're having with your dog. That almost seems like a scam to me. The only time I have found board and trains to be helpful is if the owner doesn't have the resources they need to help the dog. For example, if the dog is aggressive or reactive towards other dogs or humans and needs to work with new dogs and people daily, and the owner doesn't have a lot of other dogs and people to work with. But for the most part, for any problems that the dog has, if the owner can't figure out how to change their life to meet their dog's needs, the problem will come back in time. Almost any dog trainer can get the dog to behave for them. The challenge is teaching the owner how to get their dog to behave for their owner. No matter what type of trainer you use, here are 5 things you should look for and ask about before the first class or session. Their training philosophy should make sense to you. You cannot help your dog if you're trying to do something that doesn't even make sense to you. You want to be open to learning new things from your trainer, but if what they're teaching you never makes sense to you, you aren't going to end up doing the homework and you aren't going to see results. The best trainer will work with you and what types of tools you want to use or what you already have. If a trainer can only use 1 or 2 tools, they either aren't very experienced or aren't as willing to work with the human as much as the dog. You want to find a dog trainer that is as good at training you, the owner, as they are at training your dog. If there is a tool that your trainer really likes to use, they should be able to explain the reasons why other tools don't work as well as this tool. Behavioral issues. Exercise should be talked about at the training session. Since most behavioral problems are caused by excess energy, you want a trainer that encourages you and helps you to give your dog all the exercise that they need. You should be able to see progress within the first training session or 2. While you as the owner may take longer than 1 or 2 training sessions to get the dog to be able to do what you want them to do, the trainer should be able to show and demonstrate that the training is working for your dog's problem. A disclaimer, there are a few extreme cases that may take a long time for the dog to give you results. But even for extreme cases, you will often see progress, even if it is slow. Most importantly, your dog trainer should give you hope that with some hard work on your part and time, you will be able to achieve all your dog training goals. If your dog trainer tells you that your dog is untrainable for whatever reason, ask for your money back. No dog is ever untrainable, only humans. Don't forget that it's your dog in your life. Find what works for you. Experiment, learn, and grow together with your dog. Anything is possible.